Hello and welcome to another El Cachorro video. As today it is El Cachorro versus WandaVision. So then we go into the second episode, and they didn't name any of these episodes, so I guess not really carrying over there. So they start off with so we've obviously now we're moving into like a '60s kind of feel. Bewitched, kind of, which I got a lot of Bewitched vibes from that. And obviously you got like the separate beds because taboo to have a man and a woman in the same bed together. So you got the separate beds in the bedroom scene, and then they keep hearing this noise. She's using her magic to turn the light on and off, which then gets Vision to wake up, and he goes to check things. He goes, there's a little joke when he goes to look out the window, and where she goes, "Well, Vision, are you using your night vision?" A little inside jokes this modern, like I said, with their powers and stuff that they have mixed in with the '60s vibe. Uh, ends up being it's a branch hitting so Vision sees nothing, he turns around and hears the noise again, and he gets kind of spoofed, and ends up being it's a branch hitting the window. And at this point, then like, oh well, we solved that issue, and uses her magic and she slides the beds together and stuff like that, and then I believe she ends up making actually one bed, so they kind of cross the gap there, bring of that. Like I said, you got her doing her little magic stuff, and Vision kind of being this scaredy cat, goofy kind of thing. That's because I'm pretty sure if I remember Bewitched, I believe like the husband kind of was a little jumpy. I could be wrong there. That's an old show before I was born. And then we get the like I said, the first episode kind of had its little like '50s opening kind of thing. But then we get like the '60s opening for this. Like this was more also like Bewitched, or maybe I Dream of Genie as well. Is what's that '70s? It was an animated opening of them two together with a little theme song, and as them doing their things and going through, and they're showing pretty much the whole cast of characters and stuff like that. Uh, I mean, these shows are also full of Easter eggs. It shows him he's like going through his daily routine, shower. He doesn't. He just phases through the walls, phases through the shower, phases through the clothes, and gets changed because he doesn't really need to do that kind of stuff. So the show's Jack packed. There's all kinds of Easter eggs you'll find all over the place. The city they lived in is Westview. People say that's a West Coast Avengers kind of thing. When you got this opening scene, it shows him face through from the second floor to the first floor, and as you're going in between floors, you see spider webs, some bones, and this helmet. The helmet supposedly is that of a character called the Grim Reaper, who is the brother of Wonder Man, who in the comics is also part of personality of the Wonder Man, supposedly what led being Vision's ties to his actual comic book origin as well as there. I don't know if they without the bones, but they were. There was a joke about skeletons in the first episode. I don't know if that's really tying into that or not. I don't. Spider Man, people think the spiders for Spider Man coming up, but I mean that would sound spiders. Spider web kind of makes sense because that would be kind of typical there anyway. Then I think there was a scene where she's like I said, they're introducing going through their daily lifestyles. Wanda's at the supermarket, and there's stuff on the background of the supermarket, other things. like some kind of milk showing a character also from Marvel. You know their storyline. Wanda and her brother Pietro Quicksilver were raised by depends on they kind of retcon some of the story a little bit. Was Magneto's daughter, and then they kind of made it raised her. But there's a character named Bova who's that's pretty much a cow-headed person that there's a yeah there's that's a whole topic on that. But there's like that helped raise them, kind of like a homorph. I don't, I don't know. I don't know much about that character. I don't know their backstory too well. But so there's like a hint of them. There's a hint. Wonder hint something with the one named Wonder on it. And so like I said, they're mixing in these little Easter eggs throughout the episodes as well. But they're throwing what they can in there if you look close enough in there. Then we get to the scene. Vision's kind of got like a magic wand and a top hat on, and he's practicing some like typical magic things. And then one that pushes this box in the room, like the famous magician's box of what's going to make put someone in the box, make them disappear. Another kind of Easter egg pointed out is everybody says like the Mind Stone on the top on the box here. But so they're talking. So it looks like there's a talent show that's going to happen for the neighborhood, and that they're doing a Wanda and Vision are going to do a magic act. And there's talks, and they discuss how they need to make it corny because yeah, we can do real magic, but we can't do that obviously here because it'll really make us stick out. So they're talking about how they need to make their magic look corny on purpose because magic's supposed to be fake. So, so we're setting up that. Then we hear a scene where Wanda, I believe, hears the knocking sound again. She goes outside and finds this object. Obviously, sticks out because it's in color for everything compared to everything else. It's helicopter. It's a model helicopter, and see on it. It's a couple things to notice on it. It's red and yellow, so it's Iron Man colors. So I don't know if that's about that, so you could go with that. But it also, once again, we have the sword logo showing up for that sword organization. Obviously, there's something going on with the sword group. Getting definitely hinted now that we have. So we're definitely getting something's up with that. So this is pulling her out of her immersion of her universe because she's seeing this weird object in it, out and sticking out and sticking out. And then good old Agnes shows up again. So we got the characters are repeating. So they're timeline's changing, but the neighbor looks so we're keeping the same group of characters. It looks like. So the key thing to notice about this is when she shows up, first thing she goes, "Look, it's the star of the show." So kind of get one of like, wait, what? What did you just say? Star of the show? And she holds up her rabbit and is like, "Yeah, here's your star of the show for your magic act." So she says something that kind of sticks out a little bit, but then she kind of twists it back into the reality that they've got going. And so there's a discussion back and forth between these two and how she about that. They're getting ready how she needs to impress the neighborhood people. Like I said, you're getting more comedy from the Agnes person. Like post office guy walks by, she makes a little joke at him. Then after he walks by, she has like a thing where she's checking out his butt and stuff like that. And so her comedy's kind of like doesn't really fit the time period a little bit at times. So this episode, I feel you get there's a way better character building on her. Like the first episode, she pops in, you get little bits and pieces of her, but you don't really get a feel for her. This episode, I feel like you get a lot more out of her scenes. So you're getting way more out of that. They go off for a walk because they're going to go meet the other wives of the talk about the talent show. And this is where she's telling Wanda how she needs to try and fit in more and not be yourself and trying to get on with the times. And then we cut to the scene where we got like looks like all the housewives gathered together talking at this patio thing. I guess this house looks more upstanding because there was a pool, someone swimming in a pool nearby next to it, and they're kind of like going through this here and where we meet the other wives, but we also meet character who I think could be interesting. Well, because she seemed to be, in a way, she seemed to be the antagonist of the episode. I believe her name was Dottie. She's kind of like the head of the housewives. I mean, if you've seen any of this kind of the evil leader of the stepwives, I think you've seen this happens in a lot of like these kind of in a lot of sitcoms. I think of stuff. Um, the one with the Asian family back in time, a little bit. Where Randall Park out of part, which I can't remember the name of the sitcom, so we'll that part out. So you get in the feel that she's kind of running the show, and everyone's trying to please her, and they're worried about getting on her bad side because she pulls everything. Like, so she's going through and giving her little spill. Got Agnes making references, like making jokes to there, and there's a comment about the devil's in the details, and that's not the only place there is. Some people are taking that as a reference to Mephisto. I think she was just calling Dottie a devil. We also are introduced to a character here. In the episode, she calls herself Geraldine or something like that. But to my knowledge, this is Monica Rambeau. Uh, this is the grown-up version of Monica Rambeau, who's supposed to be in the show. Obviously, Monica Rambeau was the little girl from Captain Marvel. Now she's kind of grown up. I believe she's been Captain Marvel in the comics too, but I think her also known as the character Photon, I believe, in the comics. So we're interested there, and she's like befriending Wanda and stuff, but she also is kind of this. She don't know what she's doing. She's also gives off this impression she's confused. She don't know what's going on. So you kind of get that a little bit from these other characters. Cool little tidbit I've heard got pointed out is that she's wearing this little pin. This is the Doctor Strange when he does his hands and opens up a portal kind of thing. It's supposed to kind of resemble that. So you got that, and while Wanda's talking to them, keeps taking off the boss lady who's because she keeps getting on her for cross chatter kind of stuff. Then we cut to what Vision's doing. Vision's at went to what should supposed to be a neighborhood watch meet, and at first they're kind of hesitant to let him talk, and so you gotta wait for well, you're not members, so you gotta wait for the new business part to open up. And finally, when they pop that in, Vision goes, "All right, well, we need to talk about security. What are we doing about crime and the graffiti and this?" Mention the begging noise, but he mentions a bunch of stuff like this serious, kind of stuff that a hero would technically worry about. And they're like, "Well, no," and the other guys are kind of like, "Well, no, we just come here to." Pretty much, they're gossiping. They're there to gossip about things. This pretty much the new businesses, Danishes, and they start like talking about stuff about other people in the neighborhood. Like, oh, so and so's got bowling trophies, but they're fake because he doesn't ever show up at the bowling alley. He just bought them to show off, and so they're kind of like. And then Vision wants to jump in on the act too, so he's like, "Oh, well, that guy's a communist," and just so don't know if that's just Vision's attempt at humor, or maybe the guy's actually is a communist, and Vision because not exactly for humor. And they of course, but they laugh off the comment. And there's a joke about Vision turns S's up. Vision made the comment like how a robot met reference. And he's like, I don't eat. Like, you mean you don't eat? Because I mean, I don't eat between meals. So it covers. So you get more jokes about that he's a character out of place and out of time. But he's missing with the guys. And there's a thing about big red gum. And people are like, well, he doesn't eat between meals. And people are like, well, gum's not food. So he starts chewing a piece of gum. Then someone pats him on the back and causes him to swallow the gum. So when he swallows the gum, you get this little like cartoon graphic. I guess maybe it's supposed to be 60 of the 60, showing that the Vision going down his tube, going into this comic area where he's got a bunch of gears, and it starts messing up his gear, sticking it, making keeps his gears from turning. The show saying that the gum is messing him up because it's messing around this internal stuff. I would think Vision would be able to swallow gum without it hurt. I would think me. I think Vision would be able to swallow things without it messing. I don't think they'd attach stuff to his mouth that could, him swallowing something could really distract him. But hey, I guess you got to make it work for the episode. So Vision's got this gum messing up his system, and so we're with that. So we cut back to Wanda. She's stayed behind after everybody's left with the Dottie, the head woman, who's I guess make he is in a way I guess she's supposed to be her kind of a subtle punishment for I guess upsetting her meeting. She's got her pretty much cleaning up after the show by herself. So she stayed behind to help clean up, but she's the one doing all the cleaning. And it's kind of jokingly referenced that it's kind of her punishment, I guess, for not behaving during the meeting. But so you got these two kind of going back and forth, and you can see, she's Wanda's trying to fit in with her, but you can see she's pushing Wanda a little bit. And then we have the radio. A voice starts coming through on the radio saying, Wanda, can you hear me? Who's doing this to you, Wanda? So somebody's trying to so you're getting to somebody and it starts breaking the immersion of the sitcom feel that they're in. She's hearing it and it's breaking her and the other characters affected by this too a little bit here. But they're hearing his voice and they're trying, and it's kind of like bringing them back to reality a little bit. And I believe I heard that the voice is actually as Randall Park from, I think he's FBI, and I don't know, he got a promotion or something like that, or if he's just, obviously we're feeling that there's something going on with these sword people, but obviously now we have this FBI agent who's trying to contact her. So we get into that there's something going on, and there's people that know about it. People are trying to reach into get a hold of Wanda.
Doing this to you, Wanda. Wanda.
So they were going back and forth. They hear the voice coming through, and it kind of breaks the immersion. Even the Dottie person's like, "Who is that? Who are you?" So she could tell there's something kind of coming forward too. So now you're starting to get a feel that this chick might be seems like she's like the evil boss chick because they were going at each other before. Doesn't trust Wanda. Then she kind of like comes out back to reality. So you kind of think maybe the people that are in this reality with them maybe are trapped there as well. And then as the voice goes on, the glass in her hand breaks and causes her hand to bleed, and you actually get another instance of color in this episode where the blood is red. And so it's kind of sticking out a little bit, obviously, because now maybe that's our second object that has been in color. And then they kind of like go back into character after this. So they're like the radio's like kind of blows up, the glass breaks, there's a blood thing, and then then both characters kind of go back into their reality a little bit, but worry about the blood, kind of make a comment about the blood. And this is where the interlude, like the first episode, the next kind of like commercial of the time. And this one is a commercial for a watch. And it's a watch being made by Strucker. And as you can see, got the little Hydra logo on there. So this is another commercial kind of referencing her real life, her reality. And now the catch with this is Strucker is the guy who gave her powers. So the first one was a Stark toaster. Now we have a Strucker. So like these are obviously something from her past, and like I said, this is we could be chronologically going through her life because there was the Stark bomb when she was a child. Then Strucker gave her family. Now, like I said, now you could either say this is we're going chronologically through her life, or we're just seeing like it could have been Iron Man and this is Strucker because it's not a famous character. So the key thing, this is the third one. The next episode will kind of definitely say which way we're going. third one is like another following that path of events through her life. Maybe like say Ultron, something like that, or then you kind of maybe we are going through her life here, and then so that's where we're kind of get the idea of which direction these commercials are. But yeah, so another cool interlude of that. So then we cut to the talent shows up. Wanda's there with Geraldine slash Monica, waiting because Vision hasn't showed up yet, and they're getting worried because Medusa's and Wanda's kind of wearing something. She's wearing like the typical like Egyptian magician's assistant's outfit, which though to me kind of I don't know if this feels like that might be ahead of its time a little bit. It's a little sexy outfit kind of thing. Also, kind of resembles, kind of reminds reminder of her comic book outfit a little bit. You could kind of argue as well. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know if that fits the time period that well either. But no, that the Vision shows up. We see so he's got the gum messing up his works, but it's causing him to act drunk. I guess you could kind of say. So I guess we're getting this because he can't drink alcohol and get drunk. So I guess the gum is making him act drunk. So we're getting the husband, the sitcoms feel that oh he's drunk and now he's gonna screw up everything because they start their show and Vision does this little epilogue about how we're going to deceive you. So he's talking about how stuff that a magician normally kind of tells you, oh, it's magic, we're going to do all these tricks and we're going to play tricks with your mind and we're going to deceive you and stuff. But it's also kind of talking about their reality that they're deceiving you and stuff like that. Then Vision starts using his powers, powers to fly, and then he lifts up the piano with one hand, showing the strength. So he's showing off that he's doing, he's showing using his powers to do the magic, and then Wanda's doing stuff to adjust it afterwards. Like he starts flying, does a little hex magic, and makes a rope appear. That shows him hanging from a rope. So they go. So the audience like, oh my god, how's he doing that? They're like, oh, I see it. There's a rope. I see what he's doing there. He lifts the piano, and Wanda turns it into like a cardboard copy that's a flattened cardboard piece or like a poster, say, because then she picks it up and she actually accidentally turns it to the crowd. So so he's actually doing stuff, but she's using her powers to make it look fake. She to explain that what he's doing is fake stuff. Um, and then like they were going to put the rabbit out of the hat, but the rabbit escaped the hat, so he didn't. So instead, he takes the hat and he passes it through his body. And then Wanda makes the curtains open. There's a bunch of mirrors, obviously, because there's mirrors of it to make the tricks happen. So people pass it over the pair. There is a comment from one dude who the piano was part of his family, and so he's like, "Wait a minute, that was my so and so's piano, grandma's piano, something like that." So kind of like, hey, wait a second, but she's doing all her powers to cover up his mistakes. So they bring out the box for their big finale, where I guess he's supposed to have make Wanda disappear. But he starts doing the trick without actually having Wanda go inside the box. So so it's like okay, she's screwing up the trick. So this is where Wanda's also going to use. So Wanda's going to use her magic as well. And we have a couple of things that I didn't mention earlier. Also, you got a lot of this during the patio scene. Is for the children is a so the first episode you got them asking about where'd you come from, why'd you move here, why don't you have any children, trying to get their backstory. So this episode you're getting a lot of stuff about children theme. It's we're doing the talent shows for the children, and all the people chant for the children kind of thing with it. So obviously, some the big reference about children, even though you don't really any children in the episode mention that. But so Vision starts the trick without putting Wanda inside, so she uses her magic to make Geraldine appear in the box. So he pulled off the magic, and and everybody's amazed by the trick because everybody was chanting, "What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?" Boom, this other character. While they're up there, she's like, "How did I get in the box? I wasn't in." So she's kind of like, obviously, like I said, we already know she's been confused in the episode because she don't feel she belongs there. And obviously, we know she's Monica Rambeau, so it's telling that along with the instance of where Dottie kind of lost her immersion in stuff, is making you feel like the other people in here are brainwashed people as well, or they're believing that they're not really part of this reality either, that they're just sucked into it. Speculate on why stuff about that later, but she's questioning what's going on, and they kind of make the joke, "Oh, it's magic," and magician never reveals their tricks, so they kind of play it off. And then they kind of feel so then they go backstage after that. And this is where Wanda's like, "What's wrong with you?" So she knows something's wrong with the Vision, so she uses her hex magic and she sees that there's gum and messing up a system, and she uses her magic to pull the gum out of Vision, turning back into normal. So, like I said, like especially you're getting like the bewitched kind of stuff. So they're feeling like they just admitted that they ruined the whole talent show and they want to sneak out. Ends up being they were the hit. They get a trophy for best act of the magician, something of the year kind of stuff. So they were the highlight of the talent show, and obviously getting the sitcom ending wherever they thought they screwed everything up, but oh look, you did it perfectly. You were the highlight. So kind of typical sitcom in kind of thing. So then we cut back to them arriving home, celebrating because they won, and they're talking about their stuff. And all of a sudden, they bring up something about children, and they kiss, and all of a sudden, bam, Wanda's pregnant out of the blue, like really pregnant. I mean, you want to yeah, big, she got a nice little baby bump going there, so she just got super pregnant out of nowhere. So, so they're talking about, oh, we're having a baby. They hear the banging noise again. They go outside to investigate, and a sewer lid opens up, and you start getting like creepy music. It's kind of this part kind of felt more like a Night of the Living Dead, I guess you could kind of say, feel for it. So you get this creepy character comes out of the sewers. Once again, we have the sword logo on his back. Looks like he appears he has a bunch of bees flying all around him. He's got like a bee suit thing on his head. And he kind of turns his head and looks at him. And then Wanda goes, no. And then they kind of like, and then there's like a rewind, like you're rewinding a video happens. So they kind of rewinds. So they're back inside the house again. So now it kind of looks like maybe Wanda could be controlling this reality because did she rewind the time? Roll back? So maybe. They go back in, they start talking about things, and then all of a sudden Vision's head becomes, once again we have the theory of the colors working its way in. Vision's head becomes normal, color, and then the color starts phasing through all around them throughout their entire home, and Wanda becomes colorized as we're kind of looks like we're phasing into like the next level. I guess like the 70s, and it ends with them doing the same kind of exit like the first episode with like the square thing Clemens in on them was they're kissing, and you start hearing the voice saying Wanda, Wanda, who's doing this, Wanda, who how the same voice we heard from the radio before playing. So it ends like that. Uh, this episode to me was like 1,000 times better than the first episode. I mean, while the jokes aren't like the top hilarious, the comedy worked in it better. I mean, maybe there's kind of more okay with this kind of humor that the jump that we did with here. But for me, the comedy worked all the way through, and they mixed in a lot of the weird, I guess you could call it, a lot more in this one. Uh, so where it came out better. Like I said, you had the helicopter, you had the radio voice, you had the other character, the Geraldine character, who's questioning stuff. So you're kind of getting the feel that there's something going on. The people are aware that there's something going on because they're trying to They're trying to break Wanda out of this reality. You kind of get this feeling that something's going on. You get the feel that these other characters aren't just figments of imagination, that they might end up, they might, they seem to be, obviously one is Monica Rambeau, so we know she's so we know she's a real character and she's brainwashed. And so the rest of the town is full of the rest of the people in this reality are regular people who are also brainwashed into believing that they're part of the sitcom. We get way more depth on the Agnes character. I feel like she's vital. Um, I don't know if she's the villain or that's causing all of this stuff to happen. That's what's Wanda's mind, or she's just working for the villain. So it's kind of what was it? The Truman Show. Kind of feel like Wanda's kind of some people are in the reality. Like at least we know think she knows what's going on, where the other people though seem to be kind of they also seem to be brainwashed as well, or mind tricked out, whatever word you want to use. So this episode worked. So like I said, I like this episode way much better. I mean, me this one, that's one was 2.5. This one I think we're leaning at 3.5 to a 4 because this episode flowed better. The scenes weren't drastically too, like I said, the first one that we had one scene that was just drastically too long. This one, the scenes kind of more fit apart. You broke up a scene when it needed to break up. You mixed in the stuff that you needed to mix in, the kind of the hints of the real world kind of stuff got mixed in a little bit more. The mystery, I guess you could say, mixed in way more of the mystery than the first episode did to kind of bring the viewer along. So I actually like this one, and I do think the show. I think the show's going to get better. And I know the next one's the '70s. So I think a Brady Bunch kind of thing. I think the '80s is like a Family Ties kind of feel. And I don't know. I'm thinking they might do something more in the '90s as well, but not positive. But I think I'm more familiar with those comedies, so those will probably hit better as well. But we're moving forward, so we're gonna get to these decades thing, and then something's gonna kind of break the immersion, and that's really I think we're gonna get more stuff going on. Obviously, we're gonna meet Wanda's kids, the twins. We've seen that in stills, who are technically, I believe, mutants. So maybe we're going. Will they be mutants, or is it supposed to be the Inhuman thing? Or I don't even, she's not even Inhuman. I don't know. They kind of got a. So there's the speculation that this is going to introduce, and this could introduce mutants into the Marvel universe. We know it's tying in the Doctor Strange too. That's a definite because she's in Doctor Strange, too. Which is also supposed to. So there are also supposed to be some connections to Spider-Man 3, which is also multiverse. Getting so obviously Doctor Strange, the multiverse is a big factor of this current phase that they're working on. And I mean, theory is that they're using this to introduce missing characters that they didn't have the rights to before into the universe, trying to set them up there. So we got to see how they're going to work that in is the question. So this could lead to mutants in the Marvel universe. So we know we're going to get that. There's speculations on the villain. Agnes, obviously, Agatha, Mephisto. It's Mephisto. That's gonna be maybe slightly hinted at the end. I don't see putting him show. That would be probably setting him up more to be the villain of the Doctor Strange movie. Or some other supposedly causing this. Of course, then there's the question of sword. Sword good or sword evil? I mean, sword in the comics is like a shield type of organization, and we know Nick Fury's supposedly there. But so when we see the one shield guy show up in there out of the sewer, they kind of give it an evil kind of George Romero-ish kind of feel, horror-ish kind of feel to him showing up, coming out of the sewers. And like I said, he's also surrounded by bees. So is he good? Is he bad? Oh yeah. So I think there's a lot of potential here. I think the show's going to get pretty good as it goes on. Like I said, I think just the fact that they're starting with these 50s and 60s episodes caused it to a slow start because very dated things, and a lot of that humor kind of doesn't really hit as gel as well as it does today. Those jokes are outdated, but so I think the show's gonna be a slow ride, but I think it's gonna get good as it gonna be pretty good at the end. Um, the show's supposed to be weird. They said it was gonna be weird. They said this is an experimental show that they were gonna, and as I said with Disney Plus, that's their goal with Disney Plus is make their shows to fit in the different genre kind of thing. Like the Falcon Winter Soldier show, that's gonna be probably more MCU movie ish. Loki's supposed to be the kind of like a crime drama kind of thing. The Ms. Marvel show looks like it's gonna honest, that kind of looks like it's like kid show kind of feel to it is what I got from that so far. But we know they're experimenting with on the Disney Plus thing with trying to work their different things into the Marvel universe, kind of like the way same thing Star Wars done. One like Mandalorian, a lot of Mandalorian is very westernish. In season two, you kind of had that vibe. You had like a western episode, and you had like a sci-fi alien horror episode, uh, pirate, a train robbery, I guess you kind of say, kind of episode. So each one of their episodes kind of had like this theme being put into the Star Wars universe, which is something that they've been wanting to do as well. So I think Marvel's actually experimenting with that as well, trying to Doctor Strange. The movies I think supposed to be borderline-ish, a horror kind of thing too. So they're trying to experiment with their genres, and with 2020 being what it was, we've gone a year and a half without anything from the Marvel universe from Marvel. So I think this show could kind of turn off people because of its slow, the way it's starting here, and that it's the fact that it is weird and different from what people are accustomed to Marvel movies. So the original goal was Falcon was supposed to be the first show, but with the COVID delays, that's this show ended up getting done. Well, that show did. They put this show. I kept this show going because obviously Falcon show is they're shooting on locations, they're doing some traveling, got to have bigger sets and stuff like that. Where so far, what we're getting from this show is a lot of it's on a set. You build a 50 set, you build a 60 set, you're going to build a 70 set. We know as it goes on, we're going to get some maybe outdoor scene that we've seen from trailers and stuff like that. But good half of this season, good half of these episodes were shot on a soundstage. So I guess that kept the delays didn't affect this show as probably as much as that show, which I think seeing off Disney Plus with that show probably would have hit better because that's stuff people are waiting for. So this show's going to get. I see the show getting mixed reviews. I've seen that already. I've seen some people that really have not liked it. And I've seen people that claim it's like, oh, it's the greatest thing they've ever done, which I think is very outrageous. I think Marvel gets a little. There's a little biasm that helps. Care people always going to Marvel, pass for everything they do because, like I said, to me, this is a mediocre for. So it's just, like I said, I knew it was going to be weird. I think it's going to be good, but like the first episode really didn't work for me. This episode did. So it's interesting to see where we're going to go with the show. We know we got, like I said, the mysteries and who these special characters are going to be, who's going to, who's causing this issue. Someone twisting Wanda having a mental breakdown because of Vision's death. And you notice, so it is where the interesting clues are going to come in. We got a lot of good possibilities. The Easter eggs are, like I said, we got Easter eggs all over the place. The opening credits seems to be where they sneak in a lot of stuff, but they worked in a few little things like the Doctor Strange pin. I believe the Westview thing is the West Coast event reference. So, like I said, how much of the Easter eggs are just, hey, here's fun Easter eggs, and actually going to matter. I said, also want to see where the next commercial leads. Idea of what the steps are. Are they just fun little Easter eggs, or do they mean something? But it's going to be interesting to see that. So the third episode's good. So make sure to give it a like. I know there's some rambling going on. Cover 2 episodes makes the video a little longer. And like I said, these are just my thoughts. Well, I mean, some people may have loved the first episode, may have loved the humor. Well, if it worked for you, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, I do think the show's going to be very good. I think the show's got very good potential to be pretty good. Just start to me. But yeah, feel free to give me a like, hit the subscribe button to help me out. And see you next week when we do episodes. Till then, Cachorro.
Yeah, unfortunate for you is I know you like it. This time I'm blown away by